Welcome, Scorpio. Thank you for joining me for your monthly forecast for April for the Sun or the Ascendant. If you've yet to subscribe to my channel, I'd be honoured if you did so now. Please also click on the bell notification symbol. This month begins with a mighty conjunction between your ruler Mars and also Saturn. Saturn, of course, is the planet of structure, but it moved last month on the 22nd into the sign of Aquarius, where it's going to be through to the 1st of July, before returning to Aquarius on the 17th of December. But for you, Saturn now occupies your sector of home, emotions and family. So having Mars and Saturn side by side is quite a fascinating influence, because if you think about it, Saturn can of course be about structure, but it can also be about resistance. Whereas Mars is about go-getting, it's about instant energy, it's about initiation. So I think it's possible that you're going to have to think very carefully about a home, family or emotional issue right at the start of this month. And the interesting thing, Scorpio, is the Sun is in the part of your scope to do with practicalities. So anything to do with work, life organisation, health, fitness, diet, appointments, pets, aunts and uncles, all come under the astral microscope when the Sun makes its way through the 6th house. More gloriously, your modern ruler of Pluto is joined in a conjunction all through this month by Jupiter. Jupiter's about growth, but of course last month we saw your traditional ruler Mars come into conflict with Jupiter and Pluto in week 3, which may have created quite a reaction in your situation, especially around your thinking. Perhaps you've been much more strident about asserting what you want in a situation, and this may be feeding into the start of this month when a crisis point could be reached around an emotional matter, or perhaps it's just a more practical change. You're going to be putting in that new kitchen, adapting your bathroom, starting to work from home, or just downsizing or signing the lease on a property. All of those practical things are possible with Mars conjunct Saturn, or there could be an emotional issue that you do need to really seriously grapple with. Now, because as we begin this month, Venus is coming to the end of its journey through the sign of Taurus, for the first 3 days, something to do with a relationship could also be in your thinking, a more romantic involvement. But then on the 4th, Venus moves into your 8th solar house. Now the 8th house has a very Scorpionic energy. It's very much to do with depth of emotion, passion, sensuality, all the way to intense sexuality. But the interesting thing, Scorpio, is that Venus is going to be in this location for 4 months. Now that's going to go on until the 7th of August. If you're going through some kind of transition in your love life, it's going to be hot and it's going to be spicy. But of course, Venus is in this area for so long because it goes through a retrograde, which begins next month. So there could be some stops and starts, even some changes of minds, some churn in your attitude to situations. But all of this can start to really come up to the boil on the 8th, when there is a full moon, which occurs in a very psychological part of your scope, the sign of Libra, which of course is all about balance. But if you're hanging on to a situation because of the practicalities, which is the Sun in the sign of Aries, but it's not feeding your soul, or there's a secret that you've been keeping to yourself, something that is very important to you, and you are struggling to know whether you should speak out about this or not, the full moon square to your modern ruler of Pluto and its conjunction with Jupiter suggests that it may just have to come out. You may have to fess up. Pluto can be about secrets. If you've been talking to someone on a confidential basis, but there is some kind of romantic dimension to this, and you're involved in an existing relationship, I think the following 2 weeks could be quite tumultuous, but it is pushing you to tell to tell your truth, to say how you really feel. Now, of course, you can be an intensely personal, a private person, and like to keep your personal matters very much close to your heart. But once Mercury moves on the 11th into Aries 2, it moves out of an area which is more to do with self-expression, where it has been bogged down really for us all, but through its long transit through Pisces, because Mercury has not been at its best in Pisces, so it may have created a degree of confusion. At least Mercury moving on the 11th can bring more precision to your thinking. It also forges a glorious link with Mars in week 3. So Mars in your 4th house can see you busy about changes to where you live. So if you have to make some practical adjustments which require attention to detail but also energy, you're going to have it all together on the back of that wonderful angle between Mercury and Mars. Now the 20th brings this whole relationship issue even more into focus, because the Sun moves into Taurus, your opposite sign, but it also combines with Uranus, the planet of freedom, and we have a new moon on the 23rd. This new moon can be sensational for you in the following month, but it is asking you to engage with a change process. Because you're a fixed sign, you can stick in situations, sometimes beyond their sell-by date, simply because you don't like change. It's more comfortable for you to stick with what you know. But with Pluto going retrograde on the 25th and Mercury moving into your opposite sign on the 28th, also joining with Uranus, relationships can be an area which can provide delights but also shocks. But those shocks can come out of the blue in a very pleasant way. So if you're single, I think the conjunction between Saturn and Mars in the early part of the month and also the full moon have just served to make you more aware of what you're not getting in your life. So Uranus is then pushing you to be a bit braver about stepping out of your comfort zone, welcoming the prospect of change. So therefore, as this Mercury energy comes in, the lines of communication can be absolutely sparkling. Dazzling interactions are entirely possible. Now, if you're more interested in your financial situation or business, I still think relationships are going to be very important to what you're dealing with. But the full moon in Libra does suggest that there could be some opposition at work which is not being articulated. So just be aware of the politics that can go on. But certainly a 12th 6th house axis full moon does ask us to balance practicalities with emotionality. So it's all very well getting all the practicalities right, but if you're denying how you feel about something, that's something you need to address. But equally, the opposite can be true. If you feel overwhelmed with emotions and you're not grappling with practicalities, that also is an area that will require your attention. But I think this is a very exciting month for you because it's promoting the opportunity for you to get what you really need. It's just that if there are any changes involved in that, either within your emotional life, your family life, where you live, or structural changes which cause some kind of disturbance to your peace and tranquility, the end result is going to connect you in a more authentic way to the situations and people that you really need. Thank you so much for joining me for your monthly horoscope forecast. I'd love it if you would subscribe to my monthly magazine and my regular mail-outs, which are high quality astro journalism. You can also get your free daily horoscope within this emailed to you each day. Then again, if you'd like to have a one-to-one with me or order your personal 12-month forecast and character analysis and get 30% off them, please see the links beneath this video. But for now, good luck and goodbye.